Thank you, my evaluator, DTM Herlina. The soul blew her whisper, ever so subtle, but the gist ample. What grows is growing still, not far from its roots. It's just making yet another detour. Like synapses, it roams, but it knows where it is. So he said, Rome. That's the poem that I crafted with the title of Rome. The poem is about pursuing our passion and our dream. It's like we are wandering or roaming that of our passion and our dreams. Though this is my last speech in the pathways, this is not the end of their journey. If anything, this is the beginning of the real journey. Finishing each project after another, it's just part of the fun in Toastmaster journey. But that's what makes it interesting in the first place. It was fun in a way that we could learn something from each project and deliver it in the clubs, whether it be on my own clubs, mods, or in other clubs, even clubs from other countries like Malaysia and India. Is the thing that I've never imagined would have done in this project. And it was what make Pathways all the more enjoyable and fun at the same time. And I believe that self-improvement is a never-ending process. As long as we're still living and as long as we're still breathing on this planet Earth, we might as well learn to become the best version of ourselves, if not the ultimate versions of ourselves. So, dearest Toastmasters and guests, I guess most of you are familiar with this one quote. One small leap, one giant leap for the humankind. It was on the morning of 16, Apollo 11 astronauts, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, in a translunar project mission, sit atop another lunar 5 at Launch Complex 39 at the Kennedy Space Center. It marked the very first human being who happened to landed on the surface of the moon. With the 7.5 million pounds of thrust, they propelled the rocket into space and eventually into history. Making it as an analogy, our own self-improvement starts when you dare to take forward progress. And eventually, roaming the journey with all the unknown and surprises in between will make your journey thrilling and challenging, but as well, we can gain lessons from it and we can grow as a human being. At last, we know that as we roam our passion, says my earlier poem, life journey that we will take as long as we are living in this planet Earth, we know that we are growing just like a tree. We will keep on improving, we will keep on growing stronger and wiser by the coming days. Before Neil Armstrong and his crew finally landed the steps on the moon, landing itself was his biggest concern because it will be the first time ever for the humankind to make it to the moon. But as well, there were possibilities that it will meet a failure end. There are at least these three biggest fears of Neil Armstrong that I can relate to great extent, especially when I was about to begin Pathways in Toastmasters. But I tried to counter it by eventually taking courage to start and make my own personal small leap at a time. But we will see as we mold ourselves. As long as you strive to be a better person, meaning we will keep on improving, right? The first worry that happened to me at a time that can be likened to Neil Armstrong worry as well. So it just happened we share similar worries. The unknown were rampant. Rebecca Solnit refers to unknown field as terra incognita, or unexplored territory. or something that yet unfolded. So it remains unknown to all of us. Even a person in Neil Armstrong caliber has his moment of atmosphere. So he said before they landed on the surface of the moon, the unknown were rampant. So it was what became my biggest fear as well when I was about to begin my pathways. I have this sort of doubtful moment whether or not this pathway I will finish it at last. Though I conquered my fear at last, there was still this lingered hesitant feeling. Even as I've taken my icebreaker in the coming projects, I still felt that jittery feeling inside of me every time I take project. I began to doubt myself after I picked the pathways motivational strategies that time. A lot of what if came into perpetual appearance. Especially I doubt myself whether I could ever finish the pathways in a year, because I noticed there are so many projects that still foreign to me that I barely knew what the projects were about at that time, except for the icebreaker before I've ever done it before. But the rest, all the projects were totally new and I never ever done it before. And the second worry, there were just 1,000 things to worry about, millions just to exaggerate. Neil Armstrong first doubt led to his second fear, and it led to my second fear as well. He continued then by saying that there were just 1,000 things to worry about, and I would love to make it more, say, yeah, like exaggeration, maybe like trillion or billion worry when I take pathways. He thought the things that could lead the mission wrong and made a failure end. It went the same with me, because I have this sort of commitment issue. So I doubt myself big time that whether I could ever finish the projects, especially at the later projects. And I will tell you guys about it further. I was unfamiliar with all of the projects, as I've said earlier, and I worried about a lot of things. Even I doubt myself whether or not I will ever be capable enough to speak in particular projects, say in the research and presenting, because it requires me to do a lot of research about one particular thing that I put keen interest on, and I delivered about a topic that totally, actually not really new, but something that I'm interested in, but never really deeper about it. But that was what made the project all the more interesting personally to me. Why was it so? Why do that kind of worry appears in me? Firstly, because some projects, as I've screened through, required me to go out of comfort zone, especially at the later projects. So I will go deeper. Project 5. It required me to do a live interview on Instagram. I'm not a social media person. I mean, I use social media, but not for something else. So when I have to do a live interview on Instagram, that's something that's totally new to me. But that what makes it again challenging, but as well I gain something from it. And secondly, not only that, I have quite a commitment, as I've said as well, commitment issue. So I was afraid I will just abandon all the projects, especially project 5, because it takes time to eventually complete the projects on level 5. It won't be completed in just a week or 2 weeks, but it may take a month for each project. So lastly, I was doubtful whether I could find the right time to complete the project on level 5. So I tried to figure out what kind of events, what kind of activities that I can do in the span of a month at least. I have a hard time to figure out what to deliver and what to do with the projects. And when I have the difficulty, I will spare time to think through what to deliver in each project, especially when things kept on getting interesting, like when I have had to craft my own story to kill a mockingbird. I really have this kind of like a week, a brick just to craft the story, and it requires me to go into like my own sanctuary mode, if I must say. But at least I crafted a story that I feel satisfied about it. And as well, my worry includes whether or not I would get an evaluator. So it's time I was about to deliver a project. There is this panicky feeling whether there will be an evaluator the kind enough to evaluate my projects. And I would love to say thank you so much for the VPE and the president as well. They helped me a lot in finding out the evaluator, and at last I could complete the project successfully. So it takes a great deal of courage to move past those hurdles to eventually complete all the projects when we are to start new. There are just thousands, millions of words that can discourage us from starting something, from making a move. They can hinder us from progressing forward. There are just too many of it to the point we may cancel on things that could be a blessing in disguise for us. So if you have this kind of doubtful moment at this point, at this rate, just do it first, and maybe you will see what will lie ahead of you, and it may be surprising, just like when I first took the pathways. And the last worry was at last led me to take a small leap for my own, personal leap. So at 10:56, Neil Armstrong is ready to plant the first human foot on another world. With more than 500 million people watching on television, he climbs down the ladder and proclaims, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." At last they made it. It goes the same with me. So I can say I'm proud of myself for at last completing this whole pathways. With all prior doubts and worries, I finally make it to the finish line. But still, it's not the end of everything though. And for Armstrong, he himself became the first person and to ever make it to the moon, and made history for himself and the crew that came along with him. Were he unable to handle his own fear, he might have messed things up. From it, I learned, and those of you could as well learn, who are about to finish or about to start their journey on Toastmasters. It begins with a small leap, with taking action. So you will eventually move somewhere. If you never start, you'll never go anywhere. So just start, just take action to make your goals, dreams achieved. I made my own personal life nonetheless. See how I will grow myself from this. I've improved a great deal, if I must say, from not hearing my own doubtful thought, my own fear, my own evil whisper when I was about to begin my very first project at that time. Just remember, an improvement starts when we challenge ourselves and keep on pushing ourselves and never give up on ourselves. We may see a significant improvement that can be likened to a giant leap. It may be a personal giant leap, and you can see your uncovered self unfolded layer upon layer as you take projects on Toastmasters. And it became my own inner monologue at the time. Hey, I believe I will grow from the project. And yes, I grow. I become far more comfortable in talking, and I feel more convenient, more enjoyable. I feel comfort when I deliver a speech, and that's the thing that I've never experienced before. And I gain this comfort after I take pathways. Just like Neil Armstrong, before he made his first step on the moon, I have this series of moments of doubts too. First, fear of the unknown, because I was to start something foreign, something that totally unfamiliar to me. And second, I worry about thousands, millions of things that yet happened at a time. And the last one, though that fear still at last led me to take my own personal leap. And I can tell this whole journey of pathways has been a surprisingly an enjoyable one. And I would love to take another one. I just want to take a short break first before I begin a new pathways, I think. And well, I guess we would love to see another side of us, of ourselves, unfolded once we took the pathways as well, right? What is actually the side of us is still mystery that yet to unfold. That it may surprise us at last. But then again, it doesn't mean the end of the journey. It marks a beginning of many lives. So I would love as well to encourage all of you. Are you guys as well ready to take your own personal giant leap? So let's do this together. Let's make our own leap.
I will evaluate the speech, last speech of Toastmaster Redika in this part of motivational strategies, a speech in which she has to share about her experiences, and I really like the fact that she gave a lot of stories, examples about the evaluation, individual evaluation part, about the Instagram live, and also about research and presenting. So not only about the level 5 project, but also about level 1 project. So this speech is really can be for the whole audience, for beginners as well as for the more advanced speakers. That's what I really like. What I also like is the analogy with the people who landed on the moon, that there were 3 fears, I think. Well, I call it more like fear for the unknown. The second one was the fear to the doubts, the 1 trillion doubts, I think. And third was the successful landing. So that was a nice analogy. And I like it that you only kept it to 3. Maybe there were more analogies, but you kept it to 3. So that was good. And I like the main message of the speech. I think the main message of the speech is, no matter how you feel, how afraid you feel, or how much doubt you have, just start. Just start, and it will bring you closer to your dreams. And in your case, you got more confidence, and eventually your dreams came true. And I think that is what you should stick to that message. So I think there is one message in which you say, don't give up. I think don't give up is another message for another speech. And you did mention about confidence, but not in the middle of your speech, not in the body of the speech. You were more talking about fear and doubt. And I think you should also leave it out. And as much as it breaks my heart, but I think your beautiful poem should also be something that you can leave out. Because unfortunately, you were only given 10 to 12 minutes. I think if it was if you were allowed to speak 20 minutes, just leave the poem in because it's beautiful. So I would say just focus on the main message, which is already a very beautiful message. I love the analogy, and I think yeah, sometimes when in your case you experience a lot of things that makes you grow. Unfortunately, if you only are given limited time, 10 to 12 minutes, you have to cut, whether you like it or not. You have to cut. keep it for another speech. And you're going to have a next path, isn't it? So keep it for those. You can always continue talking about this, the fact about what you have learned through your journey in motivation strategies. I really feel so lucky to have listened to your speech, to all your experiences, and I learned a lot from them. And I also felt a bit entertained, and I think I will remember it for quite a while. So thank you very much, and back to the General Evaluation. And congratulations, finishing your path.